We'll start off with I don't know who I want to start off with. Bucket. Let's just start off with Luna. I mean, Luna hasn't really changed all that much. She's still pretty much the best support or the most consistent support at this point. Being that we're in a somewhat of a flyer meta with Johnny Storm being so good, people have been playing some Iron Man out there too, like, and even with Star Lord as well, and then even Psylocke also being a thing, like Luna Snow having that impact with the Snowflake is still really good for all of those characters that are either way too far away for her to maintain them, or any of the other supports to like properly maintain them as well. The ulti is still good. She just hasn't changed much, and she's still solid. I don't think as a whole the game has changed to a point where Luna Snow is being like dropped down in any way. But I still think she's pretty much peak right now when it comes to supports. Still very, very strong. Very, very strong. Invisible Woman, I would honestly also put her up here with Luna Snow. I don't think she's as strong as some of the other supports that I'm probably going to put up here. I think she's still really good. I think she's a good replacement if Luna Snow is banned. Like, she's still very solid. She's probably I like to play her against Dive, which I think a lot of people are struggling with right now. She's really good at stopping retreats from Dive characters if she's able to survive the dive. She's really good by giving flyers some heals with the shield that she gets, that she could pop. And if she's playing with Johnny Storm, then giving him that team up is really good. Also, the Thing is really good still too, so giving the Thing the team up as well. The Fantastic Four is still pretty solid, so I think Invisible Woman is still really, really good. She's definitely up there with Luna, so I think I would put these two pretty much right next to each other. Raccoon shot up. I mean, Raccoon is nuts, right? Like, Raccoon got buffed greatly. Like, sure he got a little bit of a nerf to his survivability, but overall his healing is better, a little bit more consistent, and his ulti is just so good right now. Amplifier has gotten a significant boost. Now, not only increases damage, but does provide a little bit of sustainability through the shields and stuff. And Rocket was honestly seeing, by the end of season 1.5, Rocket was definitely seeing some rise in how strong he was. If you paid attention to any of like the MRC and things like that, some of the teams were even banning it. And before, right, I think one of the strongest things was that he was giving Bucky a team up as well as the Punisher. Now, although he doesn't enable Bucky in the same way that he used to, he just enables his team a lot more. And it's just he allows for just more sustainability now and heals for a lot. Rocket's just definitely up there. I don't want to put 4, but I think Loki is still up here. So Loki got a nerf to his survivability and via, I think, reduced cooldown on the shift, so on the immortality field. But realistically, it didn't really do much. I think it went down. I think it went up to like 15 seconds or something. Yeah, I think it went up to 15 seconds or more. Let me double check. Oh, even larger. The cooldown went from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. I'm thinking of somebody else, I think, with the 15-second cooldown. But yeah, from 25 to 30 seconds. An extra 5 seconds was added to his invulnerability. Honestly, it's not the craziest buff. I thought it was going to be a little bit more detrimental, but I think you just kind of got to be a little smarter with it. You can't just throw it out all the time. Even before, you couldn't really just throw it out. It's a little more difficult to play, I guess. I still think Loki is really good. He's really strong up there. Getting double of any of these 3 ults up top is still really good. So I think Loki is still doing wonders up top. Adam Warlock. Honestly, I think Adam Warlock got dumpstered a little bit. So they nerfed his soul bond. They made it last longer, or the cooldown larger, so it's a 40-second cooldown now. They nerfed his ultimate so that now people come up with a little bit less HP. I mean, depending on who you are, whatever 30% of your maximum HP was, you come back with that. So I think what that means is, what that ends up being is that tanks come back with more HP, so they don't just come back at 100, but squishies come back with very little HP. I don't remember the exact amount, but they end up coming back with like a very little HP, so it makes killing the ulti and a lot easier. She's only really good for the team up, but I think that team up as a whole has kind of dropped a bit. But with that being said, I don't think I think he's still a B, because the thing is, he can still frag out, like he can still kill stuff pretty well. In triple support compositions, it's still really fine to have the Adam Warlock. He still makes dives unbearable for the divers. It's just his soulbound is such a large cooldown now. I think he's overall okay. And honestly, I think he's more on par with the Mantis. And Mantis I'll also put in the B slot. Mantis got buffed, sort of. So she got buffed by being able to stack. You're able to stack her healing now, so that it can have a overall longer duration. However, she got reduced from 275 to 250, so that makes her a lot easier to kill. And I think what used to make Mantis strong was the fact that she was able to deal a lot of damage. Her healing was fine, but she was a 275 health support, and having that extra HP to survive long enough to, you know, maybe get a sleep after the opponent's initial dive, or just barely being outside of one-shot range for some of these characters, it really gave her the ability to just kind of get value out of her whole kit, being able to use that sleep, just being that much more annoying to kill. Now she's just easier to kill as a whole. She still struggles with keeping up the overall amount of healing as Luna Snow, Invisible Woman, Rocket, and Loki might. Her ulti is still one of the easier AoE ults to kill, so it's easier to kill through that compared to some of the other ones. But I do think she's still, again, really good with the Adam Warlock team up. But I think overall she's still somewhere in the middle. I don't think she's super great. I also don't think she's really bad, though. So I don't want to put her in the B tier. I'm going to put Jeff in the C tier. The problem with Jeff is that I don't think his healing output is all that great. If he's your second healer, he's not that good. You want Jeff to be aggressive. You want your Jeff to kind of go out and kill stuff with the Luna team up, and you want him to just basically be another DPS. I'm not a big fan of having Jeff second healer unless there's a third healer on my team. Like, I think Jeff is a restricted pick for triple support, and that's kind of it. Could he be B? Probably, but I think just overall, I think Jeff is in a bit of a rough spot as a second healer himself. So let's go down to Cloak and Dagger. I feel like if I put her in the B tier, then Jeff has to be in the B tier as well, because I honestly think Cloak and Dagger and Jeff are kind of similar. Or not similar in the way they play, but similar just in the form of strength. I think the problem with Cloak and Dagger is that she's none of these four. I think Cloak and Dagger is still fine. She can still do a lot of work. She's a really good pick if, like, Luna Snow is banned, if Rocket's banned, if Loki's banned for some reason. It's rough because they kind of chopped this character down a fair bit. And I don't think she got any changes. Oh, she did get a change. The ulti no longer finishes separately. So they all kind of go down until the end. Which I don't know how much I like that. I kind of liked it the way it was before. I'm not sure. I think like they've made this character like just slowly worse, and it's a little unlucky. I think she has a hard time keeping up with the rest of the supports. Like she still has like a ridiculously good amount of healing, but I think her healing output is not necessarily enough to circumvent it. But like I feel tough putting Cloak and Dagger in C. Honestly, I think I'm gonna put her in B actually and keep Jeff at C. I think the reason being is because honestly, when you really kind of think about like the whole aspect of like the game, I think Cloak and Dagger can get away with just kind of being your second healer. She's not an abysmal support when it like fully comes down to just overall healing. I think like her utility overall does not beat any of the ones up here, and I think the team up of Adam Warlock and Mantis just highly elevate them above like Cloak and Dagger. But I think Cloak and Dagger is less situational than Jeff. I think Jeff is very, very situational, and I think that's the only reason I think Jeff drops down. Like I just don't think Jeff shines as much as Cloak and Dagger might, if that makes sense. Jeff in the triple support comp, where you kind of let him do his own thing and just play aggro, peak. But kind of Jeff by himself or as a second healer, you don't want him healing. You just don't want him healing. But yeah, that's kind of it for supports. The tanks. First things first, Captain America. I think Captain America is... I don't want to put him S tier because there's a lot of tanks that kind of I feel like are a lot more useful. But dude, I think Captain America is a solid A. His survivability buff, super hard to kill. I think they reduced his health, like his base health, but then increased it via the team up, right? So he gets like 100 extra HP. So he goes up to what? Like he's at like 750 HP or something like that. So he got that. He technically got nerfed in terms of like the shield become like getting lower, but I genuinely think that Captain America is super strong right now. He survives for so long. He deals a good amount of damage. The thing that's stopping Captain America from being really, really good, I think, is just the player base. I think right now Captain America is plagued by bad players, but you get a Captain America in your team, it's not really much of a throw anymore. Like honestly, I think Captain America is just one of the better dive tanks. I think he's more consistent than like a Venom almost, and yeah, I just think he's really solid. Captain America is definitely something that I've been surprised with going into like season 2, and I'm not super sad about seeing a Captain America on my team anymore. But yeah, I think his survivability as a whole has just gotten so much better, and he doesn't even need the team up to be good. Well, he is the anchor, but still, like, I don't think you need to run Bucky and Captain America. But Captain America is honestly really, really solid. Next up, Doctor Strange. Bro, I think Doctor Strange is pretty mid. I think I'll put him in the B tier. Dude, they've just been chopping this man's legs off for the past like 3 or 4 patches or whatever, however long it's been. They just recently decreased his damage by a shit ton. They reduced the conversion ratio for the dark magic or whatever. Like they changed the way it works. There are so many instances where I play this character or I'm playing against this character and they managed to just not kill me by the smallest margin ever. There was a game where I played this character and I ulted a group. I hit the Luna full combo with I forgot what amount of what my dark magic thing was at, but I did full, like I think it was like 1 or 2 autos, whip, and then an explosion, and she lived with literally 1 HP. It was an actual sliver. Her HP bar was basically invisible, and I think that is more common. That is a more common occurrence than not, where a lot of Doctor Stranges are just missing out on kills. Because the damage thresholds and when you can actually kill with a full combo has changed, as opposed to before. And I think right now he kind of gets ran through all of the current, like the better tanks at the moment. He's only really worth playing to give Scarlet Witch the team up, but then at that point you're playing two relatively middle to low characters. At that point you're just kind of low-key griefing unless you have a really good Strange and a really good Scarlet. And this is me saying this as somebody who's really enjoying the Scarlet Witch team up. I love playing Scarlet Witch with the team up. I think it's really good, or it can be really good. It's just that the character is still a little rough. So playing Doctor Strange with playing a really weak Doctor Strange and then forcing or not forcing, but having to have a Scarlet just to kind of do the whole team up stuff, or having a Scarlet and then playing Strange because you have a Scarlet to give her the team up, I just think it's not worth it. And he's just really performing badly as a whole. Just doesn't kill. It's very unfortunate. I love playing Doctor Strange whenever I do play tank. Groot is going straight to the top. This guy has not changed. For some reason, they decided that he's perfectly fine and they would do nothing for him on season 2. So Groot combos really well with a bunch of characters, does a shit ton of damage, walls off people, very good area denial, just sustains for very long, only really loses to Wolverine, combos and kills full teams. It's just, I said combos twice, but Groot is pretty self-explanatory. Hulk, I think Hulk is solid. I don't think he's super strong, but I think he's in a similar spot as Captain America. They made him a lot more mobile, which is really good. I think they recently, before the season 2 patch, they made it so that his bubble comes up a lot faster, I think. Or was it with the season 2 patch? I don't remember. It was with the season 2 patch. So they made his movement speed faster, they made his leap charge faster, and they reduced the amount of time for his shield from 12 to 10 seconds, which I think is pretty big. I felt like he always had the shield up anyway, so now he has it up even more, which is really good. His survivability has definitely gotten better. He also now is the enabler for Namor, which I think is a really strong pick still. I think the problem is I'm not sure if you want to pick Namor as much right now. But maybe you do though. Who knows, right? Like, I think the team up is not 100% necessary, but I think it's still really good. I think Namor does pretty good into flyers, so like I think Namor has pretty decent matchups into the current meta. But anyway, we'll get to Namor. We'll do that when we actually get to Namor. Magneto. Magneto's pretty much up top. He's secured his spot as the best shield tank, pretty much bar none, unless you count Groot walls as shields. But he's dethroned Doctor Strange as a whole. He has a really good team up with Emma Frost now. I think, like, just as a whole, he's solid, right? He still kills support ults. His ulti is really good. He's just very safe. Gives bubble to Captain America to get him out. Gives bubble to Hulk to get him out. Saves Groot from kidnaps. Saves himself from kidnaps if there's like a Wolverine in play. Saves Iron Fist. Saves literally everybody with his bubble. He's very good. And with the Emma Frost bubble, he can now bubble himself and somebody else, which makes it even better, right? So he's super safe. He's just solid overall, doesn't die. He's just the best shield tank at the moment. Peni Parker, I think she's a pretty solid C. I think she's rough, unfortunately. You're still only really good at Peni if that's pretty much all you play. They buffed her a little bit. She got more HP and she now has a chance to crit. I think if they didn't make it RNG, she might have been better, but it's still RNG. And I think they made her move faster while she's firing. Unfortunately, the buffs for Peni just weren't enough to really bring her up too far up into the meta. She's still pretty rough, like, as a whole. She doesn't really do much at all. Pressing her ultimate button is almost detrimental to the character. Like, I think the best Peni player, Cringe Alarm, or like I think he's like ranked 1 Peni player or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure at some point he even like unbinded his ulti at how useless it was. Penny Parker does have this like funny little interaction where she heals, like she overheals herself for a bunch if she's standing on like her cocoon web and like 3 of the webs that she deploys. And that's kind of funny, but like unfortunately this character doesn't do much compared to some of the other tanks. And as a whole, you kind of have to be really good at Penny just to kind of do stuff. So it's just kind of not worth it. Thor, I think I'm gonna put in a solid B alongside Doctor Strange. I think Thor is still really good. He does a lot of he has a lot of output or damage output. He's able to survive. He teams up with Hela and he teams up with Loki, right? Or I think Hela is the anchor for that. So the Hela team up is really good. And he gets to deal a lot of damage and kind of can even play up in your face. Unfortunately, I think the team up with Captain America is no longer a thing either. And I think that was honestly a pretty good team up. If Thor had that team up with the current Captain America, I honestly could have seen Thor being like an A pick with that Captain America Thor, like a dive comp with those two as your headliners. The problem is though is just Thor takes a lot of damage for free. He's just kind of face tanking with no real upside. When you compare it to the Thing has no shield, right? But the Thing can't get CC'd. He's good anti-dive, and he has a little bit more, I would say he has better mobility than Thor. I think Thor has decent mobility and he's relatively okay at anti-dive in a sense that he does have the chance to be disruptive, but I don't think it's disruptive in the same way that the Thing does. He can't hold some of these divers as long as he would normally, as long as somebody like the Thing does. He can't stall them as much. The CC just isn't as there as hard, but I think Thor is pretty solid if you want like somebody who just deals damage. Like his damage up is still really good, and like he just unfortunately lacks in overall like defensive capability when you compare it to the rest of the tanks though. Moving on to Venom. I think I'll put Venom at an A slot. Venom has been pretty consistent for like the past like season or this season, and then I think 1.5. I don't remember when they like buffed him. I don't remember if it was for season 1 or season 1.5, but he's gotten better just as a whole. He enables Spider-Man. Spider-Man's pretty decent, and he just survives a really long time. Venom Captain America is freaking annoying. That combo just never dies. Dive as a whole is really good in just regular competitive play. And yeah, he gets safely out if you pair him with like a Magneto. Venom Hulk also is like annoying to deal with if you just have those two big dudes just jumping on you. Yeah, I think Venom as a whole, pretty solid, good dive, doesn't die. Just overall, solid. But you know who's actually really solid? The Thing. And here he is. The Thing, I'll put him in the A slot. I think the Thing is probably the best anti-dive tank, with the exception of like maybe Magneto, because Magneto can like pop the shields and stuff. But I think the Thing does a really good job at not only providing damage reduction for whoever's getting dove, he does the earthbound thing so that they don't move. He just sticks on them with his punch, like the right click punch, and he just deals a lot of damage. His damage output is really good. He has mobility to go back and forth in between the front line and the back line. He lives for a really long time. He can't really get CC'd, and he just survives. Pair it up with an invisible woman, he gets additional survivability through the team up. And yeah, I think the Thing is incredibly solid. And I'll put him into A tier. I don't think he's S just yet, but I do think he's a solid A. Any of these, honestly, with any of these two as a main team, like any tanks that I'm going to put in S, and we only have one left, but any of those tanks can be paired up with any of these as a secondary, and I think it's a really good team comp, just like that. Combo any of these two, or any of these guys with any of these guys, and it's solid overall for the most part. I think the only exception is with Emma Frost, but Emma Frost I'm going to put pretty much straight up to S. She has good anti-dive, and everybody's afraid of dive. You just kind of have to play it well, because I think what's struggling people is people are not using the choke as well as they could be to help with anti-dive. She has Emma Frost has a ton of damage. Her E, if you use it at the right time, it's basically an execute if it bursts. Like the percentage health damage burst is nuts. Her combo after she gets the grab into the kick into the wall, that can one-shot so many people. She's really safe. Like, Emma Frost has it all. The only thing I think Emma Frost can't do is solo tank or be the main shield tank. I think you can do it, but I think having an Emma Frost and then one of these guys is a little worse than having like an Emma Frost or Magneto or Emma Frost and Groot. I think you lose a little bit of just defensive when you're running Emma Frost and then one of these off tanks. But I think if you're playing Emma Frost and like one of these guys, except for maybe the Thing, you're possibly just playing a little bit more aggressive. So you don't necessarily have to be that wall, because you can play a little bit more up. You can play you can kind of go in with the rest of them. But Emma Frost is really, really good overall. She's the newcomer, but I think at this point it's pretty obvious that she's insanely strong. But yeah, I think her only downfall is that I think she's not that great as a solo tank, and I don't think she's that great as like the only shield tank. But yeah, let's move on to the DPS. So we have Black Widow. Honestly, Black Widow, I'm just gonna put D. I think Black Widow could be C tier. I think she could be up here, but realistically, my problem with Black Widow is that you need to enable her really hard. So you need to enable her via the Mantis ulti, or not the Mantis ulti, but like the Mantis power up. You need to constantly keep her, damage boosted, and it's great and all. But then you're not only running Black Widow, you're now running Mantis. And if you don't run an Adam Warlock and maybe another support, it's kind of not that great. And like, I think Black Widow just overall forces a worse team comp. And unless your Black Widow is absolutely cracked, then I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's just worth it. Like, I think she's just a relatively unfortunate character. Or if you have like the Hawkeye team up, I guess, because the Hawkeye team up also allows you to do the weird one-shot thingy. But like, it's just not worth it. And like, again, you're running double sniper. Like, I think double sniper is pretty bad, especially with how good dive is right now. It's rough. It's rough for Black Widow. Hawkeye, speaking of snipers, I think Hawkeye is honestly A tier. This guy is so good, bro. The buffs to Hawkeye are just unfair. They made his movement faster while he's charging up the bow. They increased the damages of his E, and then they decreased the cost of his ulti and improved the draw speed. Oh my god, the amount of damage this guy can do is up there. The only thing that's stopping Hawkeye is, one, the current meta. I think like Venom, Hulk, Captain America, all of them make it very difficult to play Hawkeye. However, I do still think Hawkeye's good. I do still think Hawkeye's up here. I also think skill level of the players. I don't think a lot of Hawkeye players are all that great. I'm going to be honest. People are just not hitting their shots. But I think Hawkeye is honestly very, very solid. And I almost thought he was going to be like I thought it was going to be like a Hawkeye meta for a very short bit. Like, I thought we were going to go back to season 0 and be playing Hawkeye Hela for like the entire time for a good while. Granted, some other things came to light. But I think Hawkeye is honestly a very solid pick. If you have like a really good Hela and your shot is good, if Hela's banned, I don't see why you wouldn't just pick Hawkeye either, unless you play something else that's also really, really good. But speaking of Hela, she's gonna just go straight up to S tier. They nerfed her once and then said, sorry, we're just gonna keep buffing you. I think technically she got nerfed a little bit. I think they increased the cooldown for her bird, but they increased the damage of her right click and then decreased the cooldown of the orb. So like, it's again, it went from her being relatively difficult to dive to then her being like her becoming killable, and then now she's probably pretty difficult to dive again because her orb is up more often. She deals a lot more damage with her right click if she hits it on you. She's still just overall a very solid character, so I think Hela is just really, really fucking good. And Hela's honestly the best answer to one of the other current meta characters, Human Torch, for those who may not be aware, as well as honestly Iron Fist and just the overall flyers that are good in the meta right now. So Iron Fist has made a massive leap, a huge leap, right? So it decreased his kick cooldown from 12 to 10 seconds. They changed the way his damage works. So they made it increase they increased the percentage damage to max health and all that. They changed the way his HP overheal falls off. So they brought it down from 150 to 100, but they slowed the fall off rate, which honestly ends up with it feeling better. So it ends up with just the HP he gains just feeling better, even though he got less, right? Even though he's at 100 instead of an additional 150. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad overall. So that's good, right? And right now he's just really good. He answers flyers pretty nicely because he can just fly, and his damage output's insane. He survives for a really long time. And like, I'm sure there's like Iron Fist players that have been like, dude, I've been telling you this is nuts, blah, blah, blah. But like, realistically, I think Iron Fist is one of those characters that he got buffed pretty much 2 times in a row. And he's also his increase in placing in like a tier list is a direct result from also other things being nerfed, right? So just kind of like overall, I think Iron Fist really profited off the meta change, and I wanna almost put him S. Should I put him in the S tier? Yeah, I'll put him S tier. I think Iron Fist is insane. You could do without picking him. I think the biggest thing that's stopping Iron Fist is Iron Fist players. So I think it's not worth picking Iron Fist if you don't play Iron Fist. But if you do play Iron Fist, I mean, why aren't you just running him? Iron Fist is just really good. Iron Man. So Iron Man hasn't really changed much. I don't remember let me double check to see if he got changed to season 2. So, oh yeah, they made him harder to hit, apparently. And now he gains a bonus health when activating armor overdrive that starts to fall off. So his E gains a little bit of health. So they made him a little tankier for activating the thing, which I've noticed honestly increases his survivability a fair bit. I think it makes it so that characters like Spiderman are harder to have a harder time killing him. His damage is, although it got rounded out so that it's not insanely buffed by the Hulk as much, I think his damage output is still relatively high if he goes uncontested. The problem is that Hela is one of the best characters in the game. Hawkeye is still really good as well, but I think Hawkeye answers Iron Man less because it's a little bit more of a skill issue when it comes to the Hawkeye player. But Iron Man, I think, has a pretty solid spot. Iron Man has also seen some play in competitive games, especially this past week in like the Rivals fight night. But I think Iron Man is good when a bunch of stuff is already banned out. So I think you have to ban out the Hela. Like you have to ban out some of his answers, mainly the Hela. But I think Iron Man is pretty solid. I think he's somewhere in the middle. Could possibly be A tier if any of this stuff is banned, like anything like Hela is banned. But the problem is I think right now a lot of people don't want to ban Hela, right? So I think Hela is gonna be up majority of the time to answer an Iron Man in like a regular comp game. So yeah, I think Iron Man is pretty solid. Somewhere in the middle, could be A tier. All right, let's Magik. I think Magik has progressively gotten a little worse as other things have gotten better. I don't think Magik as a whole has gotten nerfed super hard to where the nerfs have made her terrible, but I do think that Magik as a whole has a harder time surviving in this meta. Like Iron Fist is just a much better melee DPS. Both Hawkeye and Hela outrange her. Magneto makes things harder for her to kill. The Thing is a pretty much direct counter. She has a hard time killing Captain America. She has a hard time killing the Hulk. She has a hard time against Groot. She has a hard time killing Rocket. She has a hard time killing Loki, realistically. I think she can do all of these things, but it's really rough for her as a whole. She's a very mobile, and she's good as like a second diver if you need one for some reason and you're going full dive. And I want to believe that she's super good. I think Magik is really in a relatively rough spot. But I don't want to put her. Should I put her C? Do I put her C? I think Magik. Fuck, dude. Do I want to put her? I can't put her C. I think she's B. I think she's somewhere in the middle. I think she just has a really rough time right now, and with flyers being in the meta, it just makes it super hard for her to do stuff. That's kind of where I'll put her. I think put her in the B tier. Honestly, nah, I can't. As much as I want her to be in the B tier, I just can't. I can't justifiably say that she's B tier right now. Considering everything else is good. I think she can still do really well, but you just have to perform more than you would with like some of the other characters. Shit, even Mr. Fantastic has a good matchup against you. And like Emma Frost has a good matchup against you if she's able to choke you down. Like it's rough, dude. It's rough out here for a Magik player, I feel like. But I still think Magik is very solid. I just think when you compare it to the rest, she falters a fair bit. Moon Knight, I think Moon Knight also falters a fair bit. I think the Moon Knight buffs were not enough to do much for him. He's better in like 1v1 situations, and his projectile speed is pretty good. Like he does hand of Khonshu stuff with Groot. Like he can be decent, but I just don't think he's better than literally any of these guys up here. I think it's really rough for Moon Knight as well. Especially against flyers too, right? So like if you're going against an Iron Man, or if you're going against a Human Torch, or if you're going against Storm, like what are you really doing as Iron Man or as Moon Knight, right? You're not really doing much. You're not really doing much at all. So that's a little toughy for Moon Knight right now. Namor, dude, I want to put Namor in A tier. I don't know if I want to put him S tier though. I feel like Namor is still really good. Like he could be an S tier. But I think the problem with Namor now is that you have to pair him up with a Hulk. So you have to pair him up with a Hulk, and I think that the squid with the Hulk is not as good as Luna Snow's squid was. So the frost squid was a lot better in my opinion. And the new one just feels a little clunky sometimes too with the right click. I don't know. I think Namor is still really, really strong. I just don't think he's up here with like the likes of Hela as much anymore. I think he's still good into like flyers like Iron Man and Human Torch. And he can still do a lot of damage now to tanks with the I believe the Gamma Squid now deals percentage HP damage, so he does deal a little bit more damage to the front line. But I don't think he's like super hard meta as much as he used to be. And I actually think he's gotten a little worse against dive. So I think it's just unfortunate for Namor to drop, but I think Namor is still just really, really strong still. Psylocke, dude, Psylocke is so good. I almost want to put her up here. Actually, I will put her up here. Psylocke is insane right now. She has a really good team up with Emma Frost. I don't think they really buffed her in any way this season. She's been solid overall. It's just, I think the team up really helps. I think the skill aspect of Psylocke is the kind of like the barrier for entry, but I think Psylocke is a good answer to Human Torch, to Iron Man, to flyers, right, as a whole, and she's been super, super consistent overall. I think I'd put her up here in the S tier as well. She's a good alternative if you can't play Hela and they're running flyers. She has virtually no damage fall off and can just stare up in the sky and keep tagging and marking the flyers. She's her ulti has some stuff to be like, you know, what's the term? Her ulti has a lot to be desired from, because it's only really good if you're like solo ulting somebody or like maybe ulting two people. It's hard to get any big ults with her, but I think honestly, Psylocke is almost better without her ult, in a way. So, but I think Psylocke is honestly really strong. I think Psylocke is up there, especially given how much of a good answer she is to the Human Torch and Iron Man and Storm. Like, just really good flyers. Or the flyers are just pretty decent as a whole. Scarlet Witch, I think is also C. Nah, I'll put her C. I think the team up. The problem is, I think the team up carries her. The new team up carries her. They increased her damage output for the burst, but or the E thing. I think like the bubble she drops. She no longer deals percentage damage, but instead deals increased fixed damage. But they increased the cooldown of her escapes. I think I might put her in the D tier. I don't know. Because the problem is, in order to play Scarlet, I think you want the team up with Doctor Strange. I think Scarlet by herself is pretty bad. She's good against like melee divers, but that's only against like, I would say like the bad melee divers, like, or the bad compared to somebody like Iron Fist, right? I think Iron Fist just kind of works Scarlet Witch right now. And I think, yeah, like you just enable a pretty bad team up, or you enable, in order to enable your team up, you create a relatively bad team comp, which is a little unlucky. Via the Strange, especially now that he's nerfed. As much as I want to believe in the Scarlet Witch, I don't think she's all that great, unfortunately. But yeah, I think D tier is probably a good spot for her. I don't know. I'm a little conflicted on that one. Either D or C, but I'm gonna put her in the D tier. Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man's really good. I think he's pretty solid. He does good into the flyers with the Venom team up. I think he's progressively gotten buffed slightly. I don't think the buffs have been all that like crazy for him, but I think he got some slight buffs over time, and I think Spider-Man is just good. I think he's just solid, well-rounded diver. The only thing is you kind of have to be a Spider-Man player to pick him up, so he's not like, the ease of access is not necessarily there. But yeah, I think Spider-Man somewhere in the middle is chill. Squirrel Girl, I think Squirrel Girl is also pretty bad. So if we think about it, right, we're looking at the meta right now. Although Squirrel Girl is good at breaking the deployables and shields, so she's good at breaking Groot walls, she's good at probably breaking like the Loki clones and shit, probably even the Raccoon ult. I don't think Squirrel Girl is really good against any of like the higher or like the better DPS at the moment, like Hawkeye, Hela, Outranger by far. Iron Fist doesn't ever have to interact with her. He can parry her stun. I think I've never had an easier time killing Squirrel Girl than I have had by playing Iron Fist for some reason. Psylocke is always playing like off angles, outranges, or can outrange. I think like the Squirrel Girl bounces fine, but like I think aiming on Squirrel Girl is annoying and just not consistent. And the fact that flyers are good makes Squirrel Girl's matchup into those a little rough as well, right? So like Squirrel Girl isn't gonna hit an Iron Man. Squirrel Girl is definitely not gonna hit a fucking Human Torch or a Storm or anything like that. I think right now her matchups are pretty bad. She's good at killing deployables, sure. And breaking some shields and applying that kind of pressure. She has some decent anti-dive, but the problem is right now is that the dive that's being played completely just survives her anti-dive stuff, right? Like they all the dive characters right now just kind of survive what she puts out. If she happens to hit, any of these three with her stun, or even Iron Fist with her stun, like just kind of as a whole, I think she has a tough time in the current meta. So I'm gonna put her in the D tier. Star-Lord, I think Star-Lord is still pretty solid. They nerfed him via the range of his E, the spin, and they reduced the amount of damage it deals. So yeah, they nerfed his E, the range on that, right? So they nerfed the range. They introduced fall off. So he doesn't charge his ulti as fast as he used to. And he doesn't deal as much damage with it as he used to. But he's still really strong via the team up. He still has a really solid ulti. I think the problem too, though, is that the team up as a whole is not as good to run anymore, I'd say. You're running a nerfed Atom and you're running a like okay Mantis, which is a little rough. So unless you have like a third support to back them up, I don't think running these two with Star-Lord is as great as it used to be. I could be wrong though. I think the team up is still really solid, and it's probably still, it's like the one team up you want to run right now. Like if you were gonna run anything for the team up, I think Star-Lord, Mantis, and Atom are probably the only one that you run for the team up. And then I guess like Namor and Hulk too. And then I think maybe Iron Fist and Luna Snow. Iron Fist and Luna Snow is actually pretty good now that Iron Fist is good, because it helps Luna Snow keep divers away. But still, I think like one full true team up, I think, is honestly like this is the only true team up you kind of want to go out of your way in playing, if you do have all of those options open. Otherwise, I don't think any of these other characters are all that detrimental, and you could do without playing Namor if something else that's better is up. Storm. I think Storm is in a pretty solid spot. I think she's somewhere in the middle. I think Storm is fine. Probably not as good as Iron Man, I think, because her damage output compared to Iron Man's potential damage output is probably a little lower. She teams up with Johnny though, if you want to get that whole thing going, which is like okay. I feel like in like a ranked environment is not that great though, because you kind of have to sing up your ulti timings with your random, and I've seen it happen not that often, because people just kind of use their ultis for whatever. And a lot of the times they're out of sync, and then even then it's a little weird to just kind of guarantee drop 2 ults, and it's rough if the enemy team still somehow survives through it, right? I think Storm is not that great, but I think she's somewhere in the middle. I think she's a good alternative to if you for some reason want a flyer and you can't play the Human Torch and you can't play Iron Man. I think playing Storm is fine, but I don't think you'll ever really go out of your way to play Storm in these team comps. Punisher. Honestly, I think Punisher is probably D tier. Or C tier, sorry. I don't think Punisher is all that great, even with flyers being in the meta. Hawkeye, Namor, Star-Lord, Hela do his job like obscenely better. Like they're just all much better at doing their job. And Psylocke as well, if I didn't say that. All those characters do his job as like a hit scan and can kill flyers much more consistently than he can. He's okay now that he's the only one with the Rocket Raccoon. He's the only one with the Rocket Raccoon team up, but I don't think it's enough to make him be worth picking. Like I think you can almost always pick a better character than the Punisher right now. Punisher has the perk of just being a very basic character, so like anybody can just pick up Punisher. But I don't think Punisher is all that great in finishing off kills, when even for the things that he's supposed to kind of counter, right? So like even though he's a hit scan for flyers, he's not that great. Honestly, he's better at killing divers with his shotgun than he is at killing flyers. And even with the Rocket team up, the Punisher wasn't the best part of that team up. It was Bucky was much better with the team up than the Punisher was. It's still a lot of damage, but again, you can just like deal with it much easier than you would somebody else. Yeah, I think Punisher is just pretty lackluster. Black Panther, I'm also gonna put Black Panther in C. With flyers being a thing, Spiderman being a thing, Star-Lord being a thing, Namor being a thing, Iron Fist being better, like all of these characters, Hela being better, just all these characters either outrange him or fly, so he can't deal with any of them. If Iron Fist is on the enemy team, it makes diving Luna Snow harder. Loki invincibility, Rocket's verticality, Invisible Woman can just double jump out. Luna Snow can just see you know, do the C ability and the team up ability and push you away. Black Panther is still broken. I'm pretty sure he's still no regs majority of the time. And by, yeah, like broken, I mean actually broken, like does not work as a character. I think Magik and Black Panther are just kind of in the same boat as like the divers that exist the other divers that exist currently do their jobs better and more consistent. But unfortunately, with the exception of maybe Spider-Man, I think they can be as good, if not better than Spider-Man. But I think what carries Spider-Man at the moment is the fact that Venom exists. So you can always run Venom. Venom is a good tank to just play. And a Venom teamed up Spider-Man is, I think, a lot better than Magik and Black Panther. More consistent one-shots, right? And for that, I think Black Panther has to overperform by a large margin to get a bunch of value. Otherwise, he is quite literally a tickle monster. He does not deal damage at this current time, and it's a little unlucky. Bucky, honestly, I think Bucky's somewhere in the middle. Did they nerf him? So they did nerf him. They increased the cooldown of the hook, and then they reduced the damage of his ultimate. The problem is, I think the ultimate is still fine. He no longer gets the Rocket Raccoon team up, which used to propel him super high up. But I think right now he's just solid. He's relatively consistent. He still deals a good amount of damage. The ultimate is still fine. And just overall, I think he's okay. I think he performs better than the Punisher. I think he performs better than Moon Knight as ranged options. And the hook is still good. Like the hook is still, it still does its job, right? So I think just right now, we are not in a meta where his hook with a lot of what's being played, mainly because of the fact that everybody outranges him. So he can't really pull a lot of like any DPS by chance. All of the tanks that he can pull are relatively safe tanks right now. So it's a little rough. Captain America being good gives him a team up that he can play with. I don't think the team up is all that great, but still it gives him that option. I think Bucky's just chill. He's in the middle, pretty solid. Not too good, not too bad. Wolverine, I mean, thank God he's not getting banned anymore, but I think Wolverine is pretty much at an A. They reduced his damage output largely because of the fact that people don't, in my opinion, it's largely because of the fact that people get up a lot faster. So some of the targets that you would normally kidnap, they no longer die by the time they get up, right? So it's a lot harder to finish off kills. I don't think the rage change was all that impactful. However, it does change the playstyle a little bit. I'm pretty sure you can't, like, the past few changes to him, to the rage, because I think he had a different change before this as well. But even then, like, as a whole, he can't just store rage as good as he used to, I believe. And the way it's built up now still is not that great. But he's still one of the best counters to Groot. He can still fuck up Magneto if it comes down to it. I think he still has a better matchup against the Thing than most people think. He has a good matchup against the Hulk. Like, he's just good into pretty much every tank. He's good anti-tank as a whole. And I think Wolverine will always have somewhat of a spot. I just don't think he's as good as the rest of the characters at the moment. I think he's finally in a okay place where he's pretty good, but he's not that great. But he's not like super OP. I don't want to say like he's pretty good, but he's not that great at the same time, because then I would probably put him in the B tier. But I think he's definitely better than these characters over here. And also with there being flyers in the meta now, he struggles to deal with those flyers more than some of the other characters as well, because he is a melee guy. Mr. Fantastic. Honestly, I think Mr. Fantastic is in a pretty decent spot. He's been getting buffed slowly. The problem is right now is that he gets outranged by all of the good characters. The characters that he does beat solidly are all melees, and if you're running him, I don't think there's a lot of damage output. I think he's still lacking in damage output. I've played a lot of games where he's just kind of sitting there flailing around, and the fights go on forever, but he just always inevitably dies. I think Iron Fist is really good into him. I Ironically, I think although he's really good against melee characters, the two melee characters that are really good at the moment kind of beat him. They're probably his worst matchups. And I don't think he has the damage to truly brawl against some of these other like tanks that are good brawlers either, right? So with that, I think I'm also going to put him in the... I almost want to put him B because I feel like he's definitely gotten stronger and his ulti's better, but I don't know. I think I'm going to put him in the C tier almost. I might be underrating Mr. Fantastic. I'm actually going to be playing a lot of Mr. Fantastic soon because I kind of want to just learn the character. He's on my list of melee characters to learn. So this opinion might change. And who knows, maybe I'll put him up here, right? But I think right now he's C tier. I just don't see him being of much value as often as other characters are. Human Torch, all right. Human Torch, let's be honest. Human Torch is the biggest winner of the season 2 update by far. They increased the overall damage output by like 1 million basically. So they reduced the attack interval, so his fire his left click comes off more often, so his regular basic attack just is basically a machine gun now. They increased the cooldown of his slam. However, they made it a lot safer. They gain bonus health now, or like it gains reducing bonus health, so he'll gain like 75 and then it will slowly start to drop off. But still, it makes his survivability a lot better. His damage has gotten more consistent. He has a lot of just area denial. He charges up ultis really fast. The shotgun makes him really good against melee characters too that get up in his face somehow. And just overall, the Human Torch is really, really good. The only thing stopping him is the fact that Hela and Psylocke exist, and you can simply ban out the Hela, you can ban out Psylocke if you really care that much. Iron Fist can fuck him up, but I think Human Torch can survive, and Human Torch can juke an Iron Fist better than a flyer like Iron Man would. He also teams up really well with Invisible Woman, giving him extra survivability, and with a Luna Snowflake. Like, if you have a Luna Snowflake and an Invisible Woman on your team, I think the Human Torch is actually unkillable, as long as they're paying attention to him even slightly. So I think Human Torch is just insane. I think he's just up there. But yeah, I think this is my tier list for season 2 so far. It's only been what, like a week or two? So yeah, I could be wrong on a few things, honestly. I feel like Moon Knight might shoot up slowly. I feel like Mr. Fantastic can shoot up. I think Cloak and Dagger could probably be down here in the C tier, but I don't feel comfortable putting Cloak and Dagger lower than Adam Warlock or Mantis, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. I think Iron Man could probably go up. Who knows? Namor could probably still be just S tier up top. But I don't know. I don't feel good putting that much S tier characters. Like, there's a lot more S tier characters than there are pretty much any other characters at the moment. I think that's mainly because I think there's 4 very suitable supports right now, which I think is really good for support players. They have some form of variety in what they could play and still be really good. Rocket Raccoon is no longer a throw pick, which is good. I think Storm could come down, but I think she's ultimately still in the B. I think she's kind of back to just being okay. And she has a team up with the Torch, so I think that's pretty much carrying her. I think Winter Soldier could also come down to the C tier slowly, but I still have faith in Winter Soldier being pretty decent. I think the Winter Soldiers I've played against have all done pretty well as well. So, like, I think Winter Soldier's okay. Like, Spider-Man could also come down, but I think Spider-Man the Venom team up really carries Spider-Man's usefulness at the moment, and versatility in killing the flyers that are available. So yeah, I think I like my tier list. I don't know. I could be wrong. You tell me. Here's my tier list. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like, and do all that good stuff.